hand it over to Heather. So I'm going to pray real quick. Jesus, thank you for the friends that are in this room. We thank you for the guests that are going to attend. We pray just for logistics of the night. We pray for fun. We pray for safety. And we pray that our friends just get to have a fun time and see how much you love them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, and then here is Heather Jarvis.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. It is like such a joy to see this room full. We were afraid that there were people saying they couldn't come and send me the slides instead, and you're all here, and we're really, really thankful that you are. Raise your hand if you were at Night to Shine last year. Good. All right. So we have a few returners and a lot of new people. So that's awesome. If you are a returner, help your friends out if there's something that they come across that they're not sure about. So Blair and I have really enjoyed leading Night to Shine this year, but we could not do it without a really super amazing team. So I want to shout out a couple people in this room that I know you know well because they've been sending you lots of emails. Molly Greenhill over here, otherwise known as NTS RVA, has been helping everybody with registering and making sure the volunteer registration is all up to date and everybody's where they're supposed to be. We're really thankful for all the hours that Molly's put in. And then Liz, right here, your fearless buddy coordinator. So Liz has been looking at all of our guests and all of our buddies and matching them and helping us make sure that our skills match our needs and that we're really being thoughtful and intentional about how we're putting people together for this event. So this event is for our guests, and we want them to have the most amazing time. And they will do that because of y'all. So we're so thankful for you, your willingness to come to training and your willingness to spend next Friday night with us. I guarantee you will not regret it. It will be so much fun. You've got to see a few videos of Night to Shine from our last few years. We've been doing this for 11 years in Richmond. A couple of those years were in a parking lot due to COVID. One year was canceled due to COVID, so sad. It was scheduled for March 13th, 2020, and you remember what that day was, right? That was Night to Shine. We had already bought all the goodie bags and the food and everything. So we're really glad to be having it back here at West End. If you're just coming in now, please make sure you click on that QR code. There's some on the back doors. There's one here. There's some on those doors over there. And if your phone doesn't work or doesn't like QR codes, we have a notebook and a pen. And you can write your name, and it will work the same way. There are some questions, so like Blair said, you can wait till the end. So Liz and I are going to take a few minutes and go over sort of the basics of the night and what you should know about how your evening will flow. And then Casey is somewhere, and she's going to do some training for us on interacting with guests with disabilities. And before I start this, I forgot to say, we still have, I see a lot of these little note cards around. We are giving out 230 goodie bags at the end of the night. And we would like every goodie bag to have an encouraging note inside. So if you still have some blanks at your table, please write a quick note. It doesn't need to be anything long. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, but hope you had a great night. Jesus loves you. You shine tonight. Anything like that is great. So let's get into it. Oh, but first, here's a message from Tim Tebow.
What's up, Night to Shine volunteers? This is Tim Tebow, and we are so excited for Night to Shine 2025. Thank you so much for giving of your time, welcoming people with special needs into your community and church family. Thank you for praying. Thank you for serving. Thank you for loving each and every king or queen at Night to Shine so well. Why is Night to Shine so important to me? Because when you tell a king or a queen just how much God loves them, how valuable they are to the God of this universe, everything about everything changes. And we do it all for the one. If it was just for one, it would be worth it. And God is using Night to Shine because of individuals like you to change lives all around the world. Whether you're a buddy, whether you're helping serve dinner, welcoming parents, welcoming caregivers, or you're paparazzi on the red carpet, what you are doing matters so much. And it may seem like a small job, but man, in God's economy, it has a huge impact. And we'll never know the ripple effects. But we believe that God is on the move. And we are just so incredibly thankful for individuals like you who have helped make Night to Shine possible. We are seeing so much growth in new countries around the world, so many people joining the movement to celebrate God's love for individuals in the special needs community. In over 50 countries around the world, your heart to volunteer at Night to Shine is what makes this growth possible. With your help, we are able to reach more and more lives every single day with the love of Jesus. Romans 12:10 tells us, love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. And isn't that what Night to Shine is all about? Showing honor to every single king and queen. Man, I love it. That's why Night to Shine is one of my favorite nights, because we get to honor so many people who have never been honored in their life. And thank you for being faithful to that message, to that ministry, to showing the love of Jesus and bringing that faith, hope, and love to so many people that desperately need it. Guys, there are so many more that we have to get to, but thank you for starting in your community and loving those with special needs. God bless you guys, and thank you for being such a big part of Night to Shine. What's up, Night to Shine volunteers?
Yeah, let's watch it again. Let's do it again.
We don't need to listen to it again. All right, like Heather said, my name is Elizabeth Career, and I'm the one that has been assaulting y'all's inboxes with lots of emails, so I apologize in advance. 1 week left, I promise. So I'm going to go over some highlights for this year. We are at 3 Richmond locations this year, so West End Pres, Fairmount, and Cool Spring in Mechanicsville, and we'll have over 700 guests on the night of the event, which means we need 2,000 volunteers, 700 buddies, plus all of our other supporting roles. We want to thank our platinum sponsor, Richmond Integrative and Functional Medicine. They have supported us in great ways this year. And then we always have fun. If you have been a buddy before, you can attest to the fact that the limo line is long and a lot of fun, and it's because we have the party buses. So James Limousine always sets us up well for that night, and then Sheets will be providing goodies for the parents and caregivers. This year we also added Party Perfect, who are helping us with a lot of decorations and fun games for our guests. And then all of our thanks to you guys and all of our other sponsors for helping us make this night possible. So we're going to go over quickly some of the clerical items for the night of the event, what we need you guys to do to help us make the event successful. And then, like we said, Casey is going to go over some disability awareness and how we can engage our friends and provide care well for the night of the event. Into the clerical. So, for the night leading into, the week leading into the night of Night to Shine, just some prep notes. Please dress up. Our friends will be dressed to the nines. The ladies have already had dress shopping where we handed out hundreds of dresses. We had about 1,000 to choose from, and they came through. The shoes, the jewelry, they're ready. The dudes as well. Please read your guest information email. I sent them all out this weekend. If you did not get one yet, do not fear. You are a backup buddy right now. I will be using you. Because if you are sick, we're going to skip to the bottom. If you are sick, if something comes up, please let us know as soon as possible, because I have 40 backup buddies who are ready and rearing to go. We will miss you, but please keep our friends and each other safe. Let's see, we will be sending out all the information from tonight, so please review that next week as you prep for the event. And then buddies specifically, arrive hungry. You guys will be eating dinner with your guests, so prepare yourselves. All right, Heather, this is all you.
So, in the Bible, there's the story about how Jesus fed the 5,000 with fish and loaves of bread and like 5 fish or something. That is how we're doing parking. So we are hoping that everyone in this room will be able to carpool. So if you live downtown, raise your hand. Anybody city dwellers? Look around. Nod at someone, wink. Anybody from Southside? Southside friends, look. Yep, make a friend. West End people. These are your carpool buddies. Please try your best to carpool with your friends to this event. If somebody has to come a little early, whatever, that's fine. Our parking is limited, and we will have parking help on site, and the first place we want you to park is this NTB lot. Now, this is the NTB lot, and this is Arby's right next door to the church. So if you went out the church and went to the left, there's Quiapason Station shopping area and an Arby's there. It's kind of right behind Arby's in this NTB lot, and there will be people in vests that will be saying this way, this way. When that lot is full, we will direct you somewhere else. But hopefully if you can have a few people in your car, that would be awesome. We'd like you to be in your room upstairs at 5 o'clock. So please plan to get to the parking lot by 4:45 so you have time to walk in here. We do have a few spaces available here. So if you have an issue with mobility or something like that that makes it difficult for you to walk a block, 2 blocks over, that's okay. You can let the parking attendant know that. But for everybody, hopefully you can park over there, and we'll send this out as a reminder as well. So 4:45, be here at 5 o'clock, and when you get here, you'll be upstairs, and all of the buddies will be in back of our church sanctuary. This is a different plan from last year. If you were here last year, forget about it. Totally different. You are going to be given a welcome room, so you'll be welcome room A through F. And we'll have smaller groups in each room, and the buddies will come to that room. So they're preschool classrooms, so there'll be tiny chairs. Prepare for that also. Doesn't this sound great? Man. But hopefully it won't be too long before the guests arrive. And that's where you'll get your name tag. You'll get a corsage for your guest. You'll get some buddy information for you to review, and some other stuff we'll get to in a minute. So that's what I have to say about parking.
All right, so like Heather said, you did say some of this stuff. So we'll touch on it real quick. So please arrive to parking by 4:45 because we do really need you guys upstairs by 5. If we're starting to get into like the 5:15-ish, 5:30-ish area, your name tag will be pulled, and one of my backup buddies, who is waiting in backup buddy room B, will be ready to take your guest for a night to shine. So like Heather said, you'll get all of your pertinent information, name tag, limo cards, red carpet cards, all those things in your buddy room. All right, so we're gonna go quickly over some of the stations and where we will have things. So upstairs in the gallery area, sanctuary, back behind the sanctuary, we will have registration behind the sanctuary. We're trying to eliminate the long lines out the door that we had last year and trying to search for you guys in the sanctuary. We're hoping this will also facilitate you guys having great conversations with parents and caregivers to get any questions answered or exchange phone numbers, stuff like that. We will have photos in the sanctuary, which you will go to right after you meet up with your guest, unless you're a dude, and then you can go to the dude station first, which will also be upstairs behind the sanctuary. And then after you complete your portraits, you will head out to the red carpet. We've had a lot of people who were here last year. How much fun did you have at the red carpet? It's my favorite part of the night. Yes, we love our paparazzi. They do a great job and encourage our friends. So be ready. You could be walking down the red carpet with your friends. Your friend could say, my moment. Please meet me at the end. I've seen both happen. All right, so once you complete the red carpet, you'll be heading downstairs. Please, we have one elevator. So if your guest is ambulatory, you are ambulatory, please take the stairs. We really need to reserve the elevator for our friends with mobility issues. So you will go downstairs and head into dinner. We have dinner on a rolling basis. So please, you'll check in with the hostess, you'll be seated, eat dinner, and then the rest of the night is yours. We have the limo rides, which will be out of these doors right up here. Photo booth, dancing, karaoke. We have a karaoke lounge this year.
Double karaoke.
Yes, double karaoke, which will be down.
Actually, triple karaoke.
Oh, that is right, we did. We've
Triple
really
karaoke.
expanded the karaoke. Yes, upstairs, back down this hallway, at the limo line. It's a crowd pleaser. And then we will also have various games throughout the classrooms. Let's see, I think that hits everything down here. Oh, wait, did we do crowning? And the crowning ceremony, how could I forget? Do you want to cover crowning? Sure.
Crowning ceremony will be in here at 8 and at 8:45. So we would like you to come with your guest, really make it a priority to come to one or the other of those. Dinner will be over by 8. And when we talked about a rolling dinner, we're hoping that you'll eat dinner and then move on. One of the things last year was that we had the karaoke in here and people would hang out and just watch the karaoke. So karaoke will not be in here at all. So eat, move on, and then at 8 o'clock we'll be back for a crowning ceremony. Buddies, please remember that you need to stay with your guest. So when it's time to get the crowns and the tiaras for your guest, you don't have to go anywhere. Someone will come around and bring them to you. And then Joe Brown will do a talk for us, and we'll have a video, and we'll have the crowning ceremony. So 8 and 8:45, so just try to get to one or the other. This is again about Dew Lounge. They have cones and spiff up and shoe shine up there, so that'll be right after registration before you go into portraits. Sometimes guests want their buddies in the portrait. That's awesome. That's great. It's also not necessary. If your guest wants to do their own thing, totally fine. Remember, it's their night. And red carpet. So one thing that you'll have in your name tag is a red carpet card and a limo card. The red carpet card has information about your guest. So it might say, this is Joey and he loves Pokemon. Everybody give it up for Joey. Woo! So you're in charge of giving that card to the red carpet people. So just know that it's tucked into your lanyard and be ready to go with that information. And if they don't want to walk down the red carpet, that's okay too. We're not about forcing anybody to do anything at Night to Shine. We want them to do the red carpet because it's fun and it's awesome. But also, if they don't, it's okay.
We can also ask that the paparazzi.
Oh, yeah. We can also ask, we have several friends who are very sensitive to loud noises, and you'll see them with their headphones on, and it'll be on their information card. We can ask the paparazzi in the red carpet to be silent, and they do an excellent job. And then our friends smile the whole way down. So just keep that in mind. Limos, so we do have the 3 large limo/party buses. We'll be doing 8-minute rides, so everyone gets one ride, so you will turn your limo ticket in. Buddies, you will be riding with your guests, but you are not responsible for helping to transfer if your guest is in a wheelchair. That's what the limo team is there for. Dinner, one of the most important things on your buddy information card that I sent you is allergies. And if your guest has a special diet, it will also be on their name tag, on the information card, in your lanyard as well. So please pay attention to that, help make your table host aware of that so that they can get the right meal to your guests. A lot of our friends parents did an excellent job filling out their information this year. As I was reading through all the information, a lot of them have requested help with cutting up their food and eating more slowly. So I know Casey will go over some of that with her talking points. But please, again, this is their night, so anything that they need to be successful and have a fun time. And yes, please be out of this area by 8 p.m. so that we can turn it over for the crowning ceremony. Oh yes. So you're going to keep hearing us say over and over and over again, please do not leave your guests. Please do not leave your guests. This is an excellent time if you need to use the restroom to go because there are extra people around. You have a table host. Please communicate with your table host, though, that you need to run to the restroom so that they can stay at the table during that time. But this is an excellent time. If not, if you get later in the night and you need to run to the restroom, find someone in a purple shirt.
Here is a map. I don't know how well you can see it in the back. Can you see it in the back? All right, okay. Yep. This is us in the fellowship hall. And here is a map of downstairs and all the fun you can have. So the limos are out the door that you just came in, and they'll be stationed up on the mezzanine. So like up the stairs about halfway is where the limo line will be. The limo team is going to try to grab you on your way down from the red carpet because they want those limos to start going. So if you want to take a limo ride before dinner, totally fine. In the library, which is right here, is a photo booth. And then straight back this way is a sensory room. On the right are the bathrooms. On the left is a sensory room. If your guest is feeling a little overwhelmed, needs to quiet down, needs to chill out, we have an amazing school psychologist that will be in there. That is just super calm and lovely place to hang out if you want a little bit of quiet. Also back here will be the medical team. If your guest needs help using the restroom, there will be people assigned in those restrooms to help. You do not need to help your guest use the restroom. Then around here we have some super fun games. Giant Connect 4, Giant Jenga, Noodle Toss, which was a big hit last year. We're doing a bubble room just because that sounds fun. And Just Dance, which is a huge crowd pleaser. Beanbags and bowling. And then back here will be where the parents are hanging out. So if you want to walk by, you can, but I wouldn't because you don't want to hang with the parents. Dancing will be in the gym, and over here is karaoke number 1. Yeah, we will also have a water station outside the gym for, when you really work up the thirst from the crazy dancing, you need a sip of water. Karaoke number 1 will be down here in this large room. Karaoke number 2 will be upstairs in the chapel, which we'll be using for registration. So it won't be open right away, but as soon as registration is over, we'll open that. Go to karaoke and have a blast, but if there's a line, check another karaoke, or just have your friend do it once. We don't want to be over karaokeing if there's a line. There is also mobile karaoke in the limo line, because why not? Right.
Okay, so Tim Tebow has several things as part of the night that are kind of like our non-negotiable items that he likes every guest to be able to complete. So those are portraits, so please get your portraits done. Also, the parents love them. Red carpet, again, don't force it if it's a deal breaker for your guest, but please try to encourage. Dinner, of course, and then the crowning ceremony. That is arguably the planning team's favorite part of the night is the crowning ceremonies. So please, 8 or 8:45, have your guest here. The sensory room, like we discussed, is right behind the library. And then at the end of the night, we will be meeting parents back up in the gallery area where you all would have entered. And don't forget to grab a goodie bag for each of your friends. And do not leave before your guest. That goes back to the please don't leave your guest. Please. Please, please, please.
this go? I was going to say,
I think this
Yes.
starts Casey.
All right. Casey Henderson.
Give it up, give it up. Do this so that I'm not like blinded the whole time. Is that all right? Hello. Whoa. Long 20 minutes. Hello. Better. Raise of hands. I know you did it earlier. Who has been to Night to Shine as a buddy in the past? Any time in the past? Raise them high. Okay, great. Now keep them up. Keep them up if you were a buddy last year. Okay, so those with your hands raised, you are part of the education team for this section of our training tonight. If you were here last year, which definitely a bunch of you were, then you probably recognize me, and you'll probably find some of these slides to be quite familiar. We will cover a lot of the same stuff we did last year, but tighten it up a little bit and try to zhuzh it up and make it a little bit different for you who have been returning. But because you are returners and you've done this training before, you have experience as a buddy before, we are going to have some opportunities to hear from you veteran buddies and some table discussion. So if you saw someone with their hand raised during that time, then just pay attention to them. They have a lot of wisdom that they can share with you. So with that, we're going to start with a little pseudo-trivia question, if you will. Last year for this portion of the training, we did start with this statement, as we believe this is sort of the model for the buddy and their responsibilities or their charge for Night to Shine. And the ladies kind of went through this a little bit when they were saying things like never leave your buddy and stuff like that. Does anyone remember what the two words are here in the blanks that we shared last year? A buddy is a steward of blank and blank. Give it a try. Shout it. Someone said safety, and you're gonna get a sticker or a sensory pencil thingy from Elizabeth.
It's not my special.
You get rewarded for participating this year. Here we go. Yes, someone said safety. Yes, safety is the first one. You're a steward of safety and what's another one?
Companionship.
Wait. Whoa. Yeah. Do you hear what people said? Say it again.
Companionship.
Oh, whoa, far back. Companionship. That's right. Wow. Amazing job. Buddy's a steward of safety and companionship. Well done. Y'all wanted those stickers. I love it. That's great. That's true. Yes, you are a steward of both of those roles. And we're going to dissect a little bit about what that means. First, we'll start with safety. Safety first. Bathroom attendance. So, part of your responsibility is to ensure the safety of your guests throughout the evening. That kind of goes without saying. It's been shared a bit already. We have some things, obviously, throughout the Night to Shine evening to ensure that safety, but you are also part of ensuring that is successful. So that is a huge part of your role. You don't have to have specialized training. What we're doing tonight is perfectly sufficient, but we do just want to impress that upon you that buddies are one-to-one for a reason, so that you can prioritize the guests that you're with and make sure that they are safe at all times. So to help ensure that, bathroom attendants, there will be bathroom attendants in the family bathrooms and medical care, so for any restroom needs or anything, that will be available throughout the time. We went over it, one-to-one support. Monitoring food needs on your name tag, on the name tag of your guest. So if they have a dietary restriction or a need, they might not be voicing it, so it is on you to be mindful of those kinds of things. Helping to cut their food and limiting guests to one serving. I don't think that should be much of a problem because they're being served, correct? Yeah. But just be mindful, as Elizabeth noted, apparently speed eating has caused problems in the past, so just be maybe mindful of that. You can interject chewing with conversation and things like that to just help that for your buddy. And then also just reducing risk throughout evening activities. This is really important. When talking about risk, I like to make it known that our objective is not to eliminate risk. That's never going to happen in any event you ever go to, disability or not. So don't put too much pressure on yourselves to feel like there's this daunting, impossible task. But it is our responsibility to reduce the risk. of problems occurring. And then companionship. This is the fun one, and this is the one sometimes I think that gets a little bit missed, especially for new folks who've not really worked with people with disabilities before. It can feel really daunting, so then you might just like kind of get really tight when you think about it. But you are there to be more of a peer leader than a supervisor. Those are very similar, but there's a nuanced difference between those. A peer leader is someone who's shoulder to shoulder. They're not someone who's looking over in a position of, like, let's say, authority. So just like those ladies are dancing, we want you to enjoy Night to Shine too. This is also for you. There's a reason buddies are charged to dress up as well. You know, you're not arriving in some, you know, Night to Shine t-shirt as an attendant of Night to Shine. You're also attending prom with your guest. And it is an honor for them, and it is an honor for you to also be part of that. And this is also companionship. This could feel a little bit uncomfortable if you've never really worked with anyone with a disability before, or especially not in like a one-to-one, really high engagement setting for, you know, the duration of an hour or two. So this will expand your comfort zone. It will challenge it, and it will also expand it. So our encouragement is when you walk in the doors at no later than 5 o'clock, then you can kind of just take a moment just to take a breath and kind of like, sometimes I say like check your cool at the door. You know, sometimes you're so afraid you don't want to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. You're probably not going to be PC. You're probably not going to say the right thing to your buddy. It might be a kind of wavy first few minutes with them, with like meeting them, figuring out like what they're like, how do you engage with them, that kind of thing. That's normal, that's natural. It's gonna put you out of your comfort zone, but that's part of the experience. So we just encourage you to lean into it, not get flustered or worried about that, and you will have a much better rest of the time if you can do that. And ultimately our goal is to maximize inclusion, participation, and a positive experience. Like the ladies were sharing, there are some precepts of participation that we want to make sure guests are following, and so we just want to maximize everything that they have offered to them during this time. And with that, actually, we do have a veteran buddy, so I'm going to invite Amber up. Ooh, give it up for Amber. So Amber is a kindergarten teacher in her 29th year of teaching. 20th. But it feels like 20th. She told me that. And this is her 3rd year as a buddy. And so I've invited Amber up, and she's graciously said yes to share a little bit with you from her experiences. So we just have a couple of questions for Amber. First, can you share what was something you have experienced as a buddy with Night to Shine that you didn't expect to experience your first time?
Well, I know my first year, didn't know what to expect at all. I watched the videos, I had friends tell me about it, but I was with, my buddy didn't show up, so I was kind of stood up. So then I was with another buddy, and luckily with a buddy and 2 guests, we were all together, and these 2 ladies, all they wanted was their goodie bag and their dinner. And we were pushing them to go to the dance floor to do this, and we got them to do pictures with characters that were here, and we made a great night out of it. I was very emotional at the end of the night. It was just a wonderful experience. Last year, I had this young guy, and he would not get off the dance floor. And we had so much fun. He had people saving spots in the karaoke line because he wanted to do that, but he wanted to dance, but he didn't want to wait in the line. And we just had a blast, and it was just so much fun. His parents were just I can't even think of the word, just so excited because we exchanged phone numbers, and we were able to text all night, and the parents started a family chain. And he's like, how does my sister know that I'm doing this? I'm like, oh my gosh, they're getting all the pictures, they're sending it to him. But they were just overwhelmed with how much fun he had, and it was wonderful.
Thank you. How do you recommend balancing the supervising role versus the companionship role?
I didn't even separate them really. I didn't really supervise. I mean, I supervised, but not really. I just it became comfortable. Once you walked in, I just came in with a smile and a good attitude and looking as the best I could. And we just had a great time. I mean, if they had to go to the bathroom, we checked in a lot, especially the first year. I checked in and said, hey, check to the bathroom. And last year Ryan would not stop with anything. And it was my first limo experience last year, and he was so excited that I'd never been in a limo before. So we had to make sure we did that, and it was, you just go along and you try and get him to do everything. He was excited about everything, polishing his shoes. He loved the red carpet. I mean, he flung his jacket over his shoulder, and he just took it, and he was like, I was so proud of him, and we just had so much fun. And like I said, the caregivers were just ecstatic. If you can share pictures throughout the night, besides the red carpet or the ones that are taken here, they absolutely love it because they don't get to see that, and sometimes they're different people when their parents aren't around or when their caregivers aren't around. So I tried not to separate the two too much. I was still kind of felt like I was supervising, but also really just a buddy and having a good time.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Amber. Amber, you just got yourself a sticker. All right, disability and behavior awareness. So we're just going to kind of quick hit some of these. So guests have intellectual and developmental disabilities, but they might also have physical impairments in conjunction with or in addition to the cognitive disability. But it's important really to note no two people with the same disability label are the same or have the same needs. So not everybody with Down syndrome wants to hug. Not everybody with Down syndrome wants to dance. I think that's the one that you hear of a lot. Not everybody on the autism spectrum gets sensory overload and does not like lights and sounds. So just be mindful of that there are certain characteristics that we'll talk about in a second, but these are really to the person, just like you and me. We have different preferences. We're all sensory beings in a way, so we all have these different preferences, and that's the same as the guests attending. So, what you may observe. You may observe short attention span. You may observe some wandering, difficulty with schedule transitions. So that's where I think as a buddy it can be really helpful to not only share what's coming next or what could come next, but like offering options, especially for those items shared that we really want to make sure guests go to and go through. Making sure that you're putting those in front of your guests. I'm sure Amber could probably share more about Ryan not wanting to leave the dance floor, and she probably had to kind of figure out which crowning ceremony she could possibly peel him away from in order to get his crown. So just note that you are really the keeper and the one to be aware of where things are in the building, what's happening when, so that you can help prepare if needed. Monotropic thinking, so like very kind of singular thinking, and the Amber's example was so perfect, like dancing. That's what I do. I dance. I'm here for dancing. Like no other real interests outside of that, it's just dancing. So that's what you might experience in a variety of other things. You might experience sitting in the limo for the entirety of Night to Shine. Not bad. Hyperactivity or inattention. So you might have someone that's like, as I referenced earlier, like sensory seeking, that they might be like hyposensitive, and so they like really want the experience. They want the loud music, they want the lights, they really like engaging in that, they're active in that. You might have someone on the other end who might be like hypersensitive, and they don't want that. They might have the headphones, as Elizabeth mentioned, or they might kind of be peeling away from the group. So be mindful of that sensory room, because that is really AKA considered like a quiet room. That's a nice space for regulating. And so if someone is feeling overwhelmed, whether they're like hypersensitive or hyposensitive, that's a great space for that. You don't also have to know how to like necessarily define those terms. You're not determining what someone's label is in that time, but these are truly things that you can kind of pick up on and suss out just from observation within the first few minutes. If someone's like really up energy and for it, and they're talking with all their friends and they're doing all that stuff, then like you probably have a sense of what the evening might be like, possibly. And if someone's not, maybe they come in a little more sheepish, maybe they don't want to talk, maybe they want to kind of back away from everything a little bit, or are actively avoiding like the loud noises and things, then that can be a signal to you of things that you can be aware of. Even something as simple as like when you come in for dinner, maybe sitting in the back, the place that's farther from the noises versus around where more of the people are, things like that. Like those are choices that you all have and decisions you can make just to help make the experience even better. We talk about sensory sensitivities. Self-simulatory behavior, I think it behooves me to just share that that's really just a response, a sensory response that people with disabilities may have. That could include a verbal stim of reciting quotes or movie lines, what have you. It could be rocking back and forth, it could be jumping up and down, it could be flapping the hands, those kinds of things. Those are not behaviors, unless someone seems in distress, those are not behaviors that we are really trying to discourage. Unless there's like a safety concern, that's how the person is regulating and managing themselves. And so please don't feel like when that's happening that you have to I have to get in the middle of this and help bring calm. That is what they're doing. They are bringing their calm now. You can offer up, if a lot of that is happening, you can offer up the sensory room, and maybe that's a nice space for that person to have room to kind of regulate themselves. But truly it is their own self-regulation and not necessarily a call for you to jump in, interrupt, break them from that routine. And then some social anxiety. You might experience like that, just like you might have some social anxiety when you're there too. So, all right, social engagement and providing care. See how your guest is when they arrive and meet them there. Last year I used the word withitness, introduced that word to you all, meaning the kind of connectedness you have to your guest. We can also talk about presence, which is really how we make other people feel by being around them, regardless of our own emotions or feelings. So kind of what I shared earlier, bring presence, even if you're feeling a little bit outside your comfort zone. Think about your guest's experience and what they're bringing when they walk in, and kind of meet them there, kind of orient and be mindful to the energy that they're bringing in that moment, and level up or level down. That's kind of on us to kind of scale that to help our guests. All right, now communication. This is where our veteran buddies might be able to get more stickers. All right, let's take 3 quick minutes and share within your table or a cluster of your folks, what communication strategies or best practices do you recommend that are useful at Night to Shine? We're not looking for specific answers here. This is really just for discussion, and everything adaptive is creative, and that's kind of the fun of it. So feel free to just have fun in this conversation, thinking about different ways that you can communicate to help friends have a successful night, and I'll bring you back into maybe 3 minutes.
I had one that wanted karaoke the whole night, and one that wanted dance. I was like, let's see how this goes. Because there's one of me and 2 of you.
All right, great. So what were some of the things that you all shared? And remember, there are prizes for participation. Yeah, I appreciate the respect, but we can shout them out too. Yeah.
Last year, a parent brought Post-it notes so I could communicate because their child was nonverbal, and I had never thought about like bringing Post-it notes, and I was like, that was genius. And I'm a teacher, and I keep them all day and like write notes, but yeah, so Post-it notes.
Yes. So if you didn't hear, she shared her guest last year was nonverbal, and the parent brought Post-it notes to communicate with them throughout the night. So it was just like great forethought on the parent end. In the guest profiles, that is shared, correct? Mm-hmm. So that is something that if you wanted to in your purse, bring a pack of them. But we'll get to that a little bit of like communicating with parents and making sure that you have a good communication system for the guests when they arrive. But yeah, you could always do that. Thank you. What else? You can shout out. Yeah.
I would say there are two things. One is when you meet your buddy and your caregiver, make sure you know where you're meeting up at the end of the night, because it can get so crazy at the end of the night. So saying, we're going to meet right here at the end of the night.
Yes.
You know that. And then you mentioned about taking pictures, and the one thing that, caution against is sharing any of your own pictures you've taken at the night on your own social media.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't do that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know how someone else is going to feel about that.
Yeah. And if you reference photo taking, not sharing them on your own socials, especially if you don't know them and you've not gotten permission. And then the second one was having a meet spot for the end of the night, with parent, because it's just super crowded at pickup. So that is helpful to say, like, we'll be right outside this door, or we'll go over whatever. That's great. No, thank you.
Can I ask a question related to that then?
Yeah.
So do the parents or the caregivers, because I know some caregivers stay, and then others are like, I'm going to go out to dinner or whatever. Mm-hmm. So do the parents then, let's say mine are not here, so still coordinate with them a meeting spot inside, or do we walk them outside?
Stay inside.
Yeah, upstairs in the gallery.
Upstairs in the gallery.
But it's a great idea to pick a meeting spot.
Yeah.
Should I answer that?
Sure, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, so when you come into the welcome room, on your buddy card is going to be the phone number. So we're actually going to encourage you to go ahead when you get there to text that parent. It typically is a parent or caregiver phone number. And say, hey, this is Heather. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm at Night to Shine. I'm in Welcome Room C. I'll see you soon. And then they might say, oh no, I forgot, I have to work tonight. And then you'll be like, oh, this person isn't coming. That's great for us to plan. But then you've established a communication with the parent. So when you meet the parent, you can, if you want to meet back in Welcome Room C, that's totally fine. If you want to meet in the big open entryway in the front in the gallery, that's fine too. You could say, let's meet in the middle, in front of the middle door, or in front of the right, there's 3 doors. So you could say the middle door, the right side door, the left side door. And if you have shared each other's phone numbers, you can just text and say, hey, I'm here, looking for you.
Does that go the same for people that are coming from a group home? Do
Group?
they each have a one person?
You mean, do they each have a buddy?
No, do they each have a caregiver?
They each have a caregiver, but each caregiver may have 2 or 3 or 4 guests. And some group home guests have buddies that come from their organization, and some group home guests have one of you. Okay. It just depends on the needs of the guest.
And as Heather and Elizabeth said, ultimately, just don't leave your guests. so even if you're like, wait, where are they? You'll be fine. You'll find them. It's not just not be too stressful. Yes, you really want another one? All right.
I do. I love this one.
Another question. The questions are great.
Okay, so could there be a situation where a different person is coming to get them than the person who dropped them in the beginning? I'm all about risk and liability and stuff. I want to make sure I'm giving the person to the right. I mean, not that they wouldn't necessarily know, but
they're written down.
We
previously stated.
don't have like a sign in, sign out like you would have at a youth function, right? But I would expect that when you talk to the parent at the beginning, they'll say, oh, my husband will pick them up, or oh, so-and-so will pick them up, and then you'll know who to expect.
Okay.
If not, there are people with purple shirts like me that will be here to help you with any sticky situation you might find yourself in.
Yeah, we noted in a few slides too, we say be conservative with like safety and liability things. So like if it feels funny, you're like, oh, well, the parents texted me after we were already here that they wouldn't be the one to pick, or I don't, like if it feels funny to you, you can always talk to a purple shirt. Like you don't have to just take that all on yourself for the pickup.
Oh, and let's shout out Clark Hurt in the back, who is leading our safety team. So there's Clark. You can talk to him. He'll have a walkie-talkie. Jill Campbell over here is the wonderful school psychologist. Oh dear, I missed that. I'm sorry.
If you lose your guest, he'll come find you.
If you lose your guest, you're in trouble with him. Jill Campbell is our sensory room host, and she's the nicest. And if you're looking for me, I might be in there. Yeah.
All right, let's get a couple more. Communication strategies. Y'all are very chatty, so I know you have a couple more. I'm really patient.
I will say, unless it's gotten a lot better since last year, Wi-Fi is not great down here when there's a whole lot of people, and so while you may want to text the parent or caregiver, they may not go through, or if the guest that you are partnered with wants to reach their parent or caregiver, they may not be able to and get frustrated.
Upstairs is a little better.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Do you guys get that? Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty in some parts of the building, so just be cautious about that when you're trying to actually coordinate plans with parents. But then also too, if there's like an anxiety purpose or just like a deep desire in your guests to contact mom and dad for whatever reason, and they can't, you might want to move to a different part of the building.
Can I ask what the Wi-Fi password is?
I don't know.
You can ask. You can ask.
It's not even the Wi-Fi. It's cell service.
Yeah.
Cell service down there. There's nothing we can do about it.
It's because it's cinder block.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will, let's see, if we can get a Wi-Fi password, we'll put it in the welcome room. Yeah. But closer here to these doors and in the gallery, it's better.
All right, anyone have a burning one? Yes.
Well, this is just from 2 nights ago. This will be my 3rd year, but 2 nights ago they said for women not to bring purses because you don't want to have to carry around a purse all night. You want to really be free to be with your person. So I just did a crossbody thing that just fit my phone and if I need my key, and that was it. So I wasn't trying to keep up with a purse, keep up with my person. That was just something to think about because you don't necessarily want to leave there is a coat room, but just don't bring a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you can leave your coats or things in the welcome room if you'd like to. Clark's safety team will they'll be all over it. So
in case you didn't hear, she shared that for women with purses, like crossbody or something super easy for you to wear and move is recommended. And yeah, we have one more on the left.
About communication?
Yes.
Hey, Liv.
Hey, Sarah.
How are you? We intended to get a bunch of information from the parent or caregiver prior to being alone with your buddy as far as modes of communication. Thank you. And so if they're not verbal, if they have a yes, no, or if it's better to offer choices as opposed to open-ended or just whatever is there. Any simple signs or anything.
Get 2 choices. You don't choice open.
Yes. Not too many choices. Love that you touched on modes of communication. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right, we're going to welcome Luke, man in the suspenders. He's our other buddy extraordinaire. He is a 6th year buddy this year, and he also works in the schools. He's an educational assistant. He's been doing that for I don't know how many years, but 6 as well. Yeah. So Luke, can you share with us what is a communication strategy or best practice that you've used that you'd recommend to buddies to be aware of on Night to Shine?
So as Sarah was saying, talk to the parents first of all, know your buddy. I know a lot of you are buddied up with a guest who you know in outside life, so you know what to do at this point. But yeah, one strategy you can use is to give them two choices. Don't overload the choice, because that can be stressful. Ask them if they want to have like a schedule. You could kind of talk through, even write down, here's the next 3 things we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna go dance, and after dancing we can take a break, and then we can go try and do karaoke. If they're overwhelmed, giving them choices. I mean, it can be as simple as just holding up your hand and saying, do you want to dance or do you want to go do karaoke? And that way they can touch it, they can say it, they can look at it. Lots of different ways for them to get their point across to you.
And can you share one situation in which you had to try on different communication or engagement strategies in order to help you connect with your guest?
Yeah, so my guest, he can tend to get overwhelmed in loud areas with lots of people. So we were in here for the crowning ceremony, and he crumpled in the middle of the floor, yelling because it was just too loud. So at that point, pulling out sticky notes is not going to help him. So at that point, I just said, do you want to go take a break? It can be as simple as that. You can give them choices if they're in the headspace to ask for them, but sometimes it might be as simple as, why don't we go take a break?
Thank you, Luke. Let's clap it up for Luke. Thank you for your thoughtful questions and answers, by the way, during this time. So again, quick hit with some of this clear and concise language. I admittedly struggle with that because I'm a wordy person, but as clear and concise as you can be when you're giving direction or instruction is very helpful. Check for understanding. Like here, you might say something, and then the travel of communication from your mouth to their understanding, it might be completely different. So make sure that they know what you're asking or sharing with them. You can focus understanding if it is really overwhelming and it's hard to get the attention of your guest. I find one strategy is to say their name sometimes, because we're very attuned to our own names. And so if someone's just like kind of all over the place, they might be a little bit overwhelmed. And if you want a focused moment to kind of help ask a question as Luke shared, or say, hey, why don't we go take a break, in order for them to maybe be able to be attuned to you and hear that and respond, you can do something like say their name, like, hey, so-and-so, and then they might focus in, and then we do have a moment to ask that. And Luke said it great, hand and facial cues, so body language, super important. Verbal communication is 7% of all communication, so be aware of that, super valuable for this community. Eye contact, a lot of folks with IDD might be uncomfortable with eye contact. We learned, the non-disabled community, that eye contact is a sign of respect when listening to someone or speaking to someone. That's just not so in this community, so don't be alarmed if someone is maybe not looking you directly in the eye. You don't have to wonder if they can hear you or if they are with you or connected to you in that moment. You might have a really awesome conversation with your guest, like shoulder to shoulder, instead of like eye to eye. Use an age-appropriate tone of voice. I think you hear this a lot in this community, that an individual is in their 20s or 30s, they're definitely an adult, but they act like, or they have the mind of a toddler or what have you. We want to give respect and dignity to our guests who are here, and the dignity of being the adult or the young adult that they see themselves as, and they do. And so that is the charge we have as well, to see them that way too. So that the form of that can take, there can be many forms of that like mindset in communication, but one would be tone of voice. We hear a lot like, hey buddy, okay, already. And that one just like kind of irks me particularly. So treat your adults like adults, talk to them like adults. They experience the life that you do. So although they might be a 40-year-old without a driver's license, it's possible that they could talk to you about how much they hate traffic, and like those are relating concepts that you guys can connect on. And tactile prompts, I would start with like demonstration, or Luke said it great, like, do you want to try this or this, before you grab a hand and walk with them, or physically guide or prompt. You might need to do that a little bit, and your buddy might be very comfortable with that. But then in the reverse as well, I do want to share that you certainly are not obligated to be as touchy as maybe your guest wants to be throughout the time. It is their night, but like we said, it is also a night for you as a peer to be with them. And so if you have a buddy that wants to just constantly hold your hand or hug you, or the hugging is getting a little close, you can certainly establish a very friendly and warm but firm and real boundary there. And if you don't understand what someone says, you don't have to fake it. You can ask things like, can you say that again? Can you show me? Or you can repeat what you did hear them say and ask them if that's right. And sometimes if it's still really challenging, I've done this before, I just say, I'm so sorry, I don't know what you're trying to say to me. You can be honest, and maybe there's another buddy or person in purple shirt. It's like, hey, my guest so-and-so, they're trying to share something with me, and I just am having a hard time, possibly because of the way they're enunciating or what have you. And you can get help to understand that. So you don't have to just be like, yeah, okay. That's another example of giving them the dignity of the person that they are, just being real with them, and you can share with them that you don't understand what they're saying, but you will do your best to learn and understand. For guests who are non-speaking, note that these guests can often understand you and can communicate with you. They might use a lot of physical prompting or technological communication, like an iPad or a Post-it note, the opposite of technology, or physical prompting. Like that might be a guest in which they're doing a lot more like communicating to you via a physical touch, like grabbing your arm to help show you where they want to go, that kind of thing. So just be mindful of that, and speak with them, not about them. So when mom or dad come to drop them off especially, and it's the three of you possibly standing there and you're meeting your guest, and the parent might even say like, oh, well, Tony's this, Tony's that, whatever, and you can engage Tony while still communicating with mom about that. You can turn and face Tony. You can put your arm around Tony. You can be like, Tony, it's so great to meet you. Tony, what are your communication preferences? And look at both mom and Tony. We know mom's going to answer. But that is a way of, again, giving dignity to Tony and centering him and not just talking about him like he's not there. Wheelchair etiquette, Heather and Elizabeth shared this. There are trained volunteers for limo rides, so you are not expected, nor do we desire for you to do any transfers. You are not trained for that. And a wheelchair is an extension of a person's personal space, so just be mindful of that as well. And we do, in our language, we say wheelchair users. Folks in wheelchairs are not bound by the wheelchair. They can get out, if you can believe it. They're not tethered to the wheelchair for life. So they're just using a wheelchair that is their mechanism for mobility. And you may get on their level when speaking, if it's helpful, if it's loud, that kind of thing, but you don't have to, and you can kind of play with that throughout the evening. So if it does help you to hear them or them to hear you, you can kneel down, or you can grab a chair and pull it up, that kind of thing. But yeah, sometimes, just like anyone, someone in a wheelchair might be very loud and enunciate great, and they might be able to project, and you don't have to kind of always go down to their level, although it is helpful. And be aware of two things that are up high, so that your guest in a wheelchair can experience, again, you can maximize their participation. So if something's up high or maybe out of reach, that you can bring things to them so that they can experience and be part of all that Night to Shine is offering. And lastly, be inquisitive with yourself. I think if you could take anything away, this is the slide that I would just say is that the biggest takeaway point for this section of training is just to learn to ask yourself questions. Be curious with yourself about the needs of your guests, of their experience, their desires. This is what presence means in action. When you're mindful of them, you're being present to what they're coming with, the energy they're bringing, what their needs are. That can help you to be able to serve and care for them the best way. Some of the examples are, is there too much waiting for my guest right now? Maybe there's something creative we can do while we wait, or maybe standing in this line for 10 more minutes for karaoke might not be the thing that's best for us as a group? Maybe we can have a better experience if I offer this up. Or have I allowed room for my guests to communicate back to me? Have I checked for understanding? Do they feel heard? Is there something about their day that could be impacting their mood? Maybe they come in with a lot of stress and drama. And are you like holding space for that? Are you allowing that to be something that is part of the experience of the evening, if it's really on their minds, or are you kind of like dismissing that? So that's the last thing we'll say on that end. And then finally, emergency. It's been said a bunch, and I think it's going to get like double bolded and underlined. Purple shirts are your support team. Red shirts are your medical team. Communicate emergencies to people in those shirts first. They'll take the best next steps to manage and scale an emergency if needed. Do not leave your guest. And then, what is an emergency? Medical needs, suspicious or non-typical behavior. Don't just be conservative in your judgment. I guess that's what we'll say. Be conservative if something seems outside of the norm. Maybe you've only known your guest for 10 minutes, so you're like, I don't know their norm. But certainly that's where you can, bring in someone else if your just instincts about what they're experiencing might be beyond what you'd be able to care for at that moment. Or something as emergency could also be something as, I'll leave it at that because I think we have others that are going to share more. So that concludes this portion. And we're going to
Okay. Casey!
And I'm sorry, I work for Special Olympics, so all the stickers are Special Olympics stickers, so we don't have Night to Shine stickers because Tim Tebow didn't give us any.
I love Casey. Thank you so much for sharing all that. That was great. One more shout out to our amazing platinum sponsor, Richmond Integrative and Functional Medicine. And a list of things that I forgot to say. Here's your QR code. Make sure you did that on the way in, or here it is again. If you are excited about so much more Night to Shine, it's not enough to just come next Friday. You can join us on Saturday from 1 to 4 to decorate. On Wednesday night at 7:30 to move all these tables and chairs and set up the space. On Thursday from 5 to 9 to decorate and set up. Or on Friday all day long. If you want to come and decorate any of those times, you can click there, or we'll probably email the sign-up genius to you again. We would love to have any help, anybody who's interested. We did say dress up, but I want to add wear comfortable shoes. Don't wear your fancy shoes. If you are a buddy whose guest is their cousin or son or child or friend or neighbor and you want to carpool, that's awesome. You can come at the time assigned to your guest.
But tell me.
But tell Elizabeth, please.
So that I don't mark you as absent and
Right.
reassigned your guest.
The guests will all get a time, 5:45, 6, or 6:15. So if your guest is coming at 6:15 and you want to roll in at 6:15, that's great. Just let us know. Molly has an announcement to make.
Background check, my friends. So many of you are tired of getting emails from me, and I'm starting to get tired of getting them, but not totally. So part of my job is that I am getting background checks for 497 of you and taking a peek and seeing if there's anything that needs to be addressed. If you have submitted your background check and you have heard nothing, that is good news. If I needed to talk to you about something, I already have.
and that was one of our biggest financial line items of years past. And we are really grateful to all of you that have paid $7 to help us with that line item. So thank you for paying for your own background checks. I believe that is all my things I forgot. Does anyone have any questions for the group?
Yes.
Have backup buddies been assigned a buddy?
Not yet. It will be over the next 48 hours to the day of the event. So you will find out. So if you don't have one by the day of the event, we still ask you to come because we will be pulling people. Last year we went through every single one of our backup buddies.
Yeah. Last year we went through every single one of our backup buddies before the event started. And then we were like, who can we get to be a buddy? And we were just pulling, people from wherever.
I got assigned a backup buddy, and then I got a buddy assigned.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Some people already have. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that
If
I'm
you-
not a backup buddy?
You're not a backup buddy anymore. Congratulations, you're a buddy buddy. You're a buddy.
Thank you. Did they have to check out with anybody else before the parent, or do you guys
No, that's fine. Just make sure that their parent comes. And, we will have, some parents will be here, so that's something you can ask when you meet them. Will you be on site? We can go and grab them if necessary. Some take the opportunity to go out for dinner, but the majority stay, to be honest. And we have a live stream going in the parent room so they can see all the fun that's happening. We ask that they do not kind of float around the event. They mostly stay there. And one thing we talked about posting pictures and things. Everyone has signed a media release. So it is okay if you want to share pictures. I would just, you could check with the caregivers and make sure that's okay. And also, think about if you want to share your Instagram or your cell phone with your guest. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that would be the beginning of a wonderful friendship. Maybe that friendship would be really friendly, and you just might want to think about what you feel comfortable with. Any other questions? Okay. Oh.
If a family member just wants to come to watch, they walk on the red carpet, can they just come in and leave?
Yeah. Anyone can come and watch the red carpet, and we have paparazzi up there. We have families with young kids, and people that really can't volunteer downstairs, but they can come and watch the red carpet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aside from decorating, are you all actively recruiting for any
No, we are full for guests, and we are now full for volunteers. So stop telling your friends. Next year, tell your friends in December or in the beginning of January. So I won't be having a heart attack last week. Susie can attest to this. A week ago, when we were like, we need 50 buddies, and then here you are. Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else? Mm-hmm.
I am my brother's family member, and he's going to be participating.
Yes.
And so last year I went at his time, but this year he's still attending, but I'm going to be somebody else's buddy.
Okay.
Sydney?
I already have you guys paired to come at the same time.
Okay. So should I show up?
You'll show up at his time.
Okay.
And your guest and his buddy all have the same time.
And you can all come in one car.
And you all come in one
A couple of things. Okay. If you have a particular question for NTS RVA Molly over there, she's here and she's still smiling, so feel free. If you have a question for Elizabeth, if you want to talk to anybody else, we're here. We would really. Do you have something else you want to say? Oh, sorry. Okay.
A lot of people say they're not getting my emails because I didn't get access to the Night to Shine RVA email. So please check your spam filters for liz.m.pereira. I take it most of you have now because you're here, but just in case.
Sorry about that. We would really love your help with stacking the chairs. So if you still have encouraging notes, you could write one or two more of those. If you are in a chair that's around a table, we want to leave 10 chairs around each table. if you are not around a table, we would like to stack the chairs. So we have a few people that are captain stackers. And we're so thankful for you for coming. Have a great night.
Just something like that, say something happens instead of, I got to borrow some money right now. Because I mean, it's hard.